Hello fellow collectors, welcome back to the channel. So happy to be making a new video. I'm your host, Voltus Prime, and in today's video, we will be taking a closer look at Mattel's Jurassic World Rebirth, Wild Roar, Nasutoceratops. Starting off with the packaging, it's nothing you haven't seen before. Right here we got the Spinosaurus render, Nasutoceratops right there, Wild Roar, the Jurassic World Rebirth logo. You got the red little tagging here at the front, the logo there, the sunset in the background. Here's the back of the box. Here you can see the action feature. If you move the tail up, the head is supposed to go down. If you move the tail down, head's supposed to go up. We'll see how well that works. Here you see the other Wild Roar assortments. We got the Baryonyx, the Utahraptor, and the Myosauria. I don't have these two, but I do have the Myosauria. So video review for that girl coming up really soon. Yeah, for packaging, that's pretty much it. Let's get this guy in box, shall we? And boom! There you have it. The Nasutoceratops. First impressions, I gotta say, I thought the tail would be longer. If you see, I don't know, something is really off about it. I'm gonna say though that it kind of looks, and I hate to say this, underwhelming. And I don't know what it is. I think it might be because of the paint job. It's just way too bland. We'll talk about the paint job here in a second. But first impressions, detail looks pretty sick. I'm gonna try to inspect it for some paint defects because if you remember the Spino, oh my god, that one had a big paint splotch on the leg. I haven't gotten it off yet. I've tried and it doesn't want to come off. But for the Nasutoceratops, everything looks good right now. Like the eye, at least, looks like they didn't miss the spot. If anything, it might just be a little bit bleeding right here. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. I don't think there's a lot of paint defects. Granted, there's not much paint to be defected. So yeah, talking about the paint job, probably my biggest gripe with the figure is that there's just not much going on. It seems really lazy. So starting off with the head, we got like a lighter brown, kind of tan beige for the base. And we got this navy blue. Like that's it. It's two colors for this whole figure. I would say that I love how they did the head of this figure. So they have the regular brown base painted on, but then they had the blue, this navy blue, kind of dry brushed between the scales and stuff. So you could see here, you could still see the brown base, but it's nicely broken up by the navy blue that they put, which is a cool touch. I love that. Going by the horns, it's this white off grayish color. You know what horns should look like. Got more dry brushing here of the blue. Just, it's on the top of the skull. I like the little contrast between the bottom jaw and the top jaw and how it's not like a slab of blue, how the same way that the body is. It's more airbrush. I wish they did that for the whole body, but they didn't. And by the top here, you see that blue. It's a nice shade of blue. Blue's my color. Going to the base of the body here. Very lazy. The blue pattern stops right here. The rest is this bland base color, which is the brown beige that I described earlier. Here, at least you have like little touches of spots and speckles near the end of the splotch of blue here, but man, I really wish this guy's paint job was better. The eye here is a nice bright yellow, like an egg yolk yellow, which is cool. Same with the other side. If you saw my Spinosaurus review and my complaints about the pupil, here they actually have a black pupil instead of having a lightish brownish color. Because if you know, Mattel likes to do the pupil as whatever the color the base of the figure is. So glad that they actually chose to paint it black. You know, one thing I wanted to say in the Spinosaurus review is that putting a little light catch in your pupils brings so much life to the figure. And you'll see later in the comparisons when I compare it to the Kenner stuff, such as this guy. Like putting just that tiny little eye touch puts so much life into the figure, and I don't know why Mattel doesn't do it more often. There's not really much going on, so if the paint segment is short, that's probably why, because there's not a whole lot to this figure. It's just two colors, three, or sorry, four if you count like the horn or the eyes, but like, geez, guys. I don't know. I wanted to like this figure. Like I've been looking forward to a Nasutoceratops for a while, but this paint job, man, it's not it. So going into the sculpt of the figure, where the paint job kind of drags it down, the sculpt definitely drags it back up because it does look great. Specifically here, like this area right here, it feels nice. Like this top of the crest, the skull, it feels great. It's like nice and bumpy. Like you can see the scales over there. It's a very fine detail. I love that. You see more paint on the eyes. And again, I think that paint job does a lot to bring the sculpt out. I just wish they did it in the entire body, man. Like they could have had like weathering on the bottom or something, like a beige or whitish off-white color. Like same with the horns, right? Like that type of color here at the belly. I feel like that would have put more life into the figure, but as it stands right now, it just seems kind of boring. But yeah, you see the horns here, nicely textured. There's like lines and ridges going down the horn to make it look like bony, which, you know, makes sense. You got a little bit of like pieces of skin and scales here at the bottom, kind of like someone took a toothpick or something, started drawing lines. Obviously, they didn't do that anymore. It's all computer printed, but the sculpt does look great. Again, this top of the skull with the spikes going down. And I love that the material here is made out of this soft rubber. So you could like bend it which way you want. You wouldn't poke or hurt yourself if you're a kid. Same thing with the top of the skull. You can see how that's bending. And it feels great. Like it just feels nice. Like a real live, you know, dinosaur. Like Kenner's real feel skin. It feels like that. And that's a cool touch. The body is made out of this like cheap plastic. Not cheap, because it is pretty thick. Like if you see here, like that's thick plastic. It just sounds cheap like that, and it's really light. But leg made out of that soft plastic as well. It doesn't go out anymore. I don't know when they stopped doing that. The front legs are made out of like a harder or a softer plastic at least, if not a hard rubber. Tip of the tail, it's hard plastic. Same thing with the tail here. It is made out of hard plastic. I think the only rubber parts are the horns and kind of like the face. The skull kind of gets watered down. Specifically in the legs. If you saw the Spinosaurus review, it's very similar. The sculpt is not as fine as say this part, but you know, it'll do. Nice sculpting of the fat here of the Nasutoceratops. Nice sculpting here on the leg, going down to the feet. Has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toes, which is right. Going at the belly. There's nothing much here because of the battery pack, but they could have at least sculpted something on there. And right now, it just looks cheap, but they could have done something. I get that no one's going to probably stare at their dinosaur like this, but, you know, it's all in the fine details, right? The body, not as much details as the head, once again. It's just more so the lines and the curvatures of the sculpt going down to the tail. More fat and wrinkles and skins, and nice little details there for the tail, how it's all textured and kind of sculpted with lines and stuff. Like the details are kind of mid. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's serviceable. The head does a lot of the carrying for this guy. I'm not gonna lie. As a ceratopsian, like kind of makes sense that, you know, all the attention would be at the skull, but I just wish that they gave more love to the body of the figure, you know? It's just, yeah, so far, it's just very underwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. Articulation-wise, the head does move, but, like, that's part of the action feature. I'm gonna activate it here for a second, but that doesn't really count. Yeah, there's no articulation on the actual head. The legs moves back that far, front about that much, and you have your little hinge here to have it go out about barely 90 degrees maybe. This front leg Goes up that far. I think the sculpt kind of stops it right there. And back only that much. Again, does go out. Oh, less than 90. I like a lot less than 90. Wait. About that much. So about 90 degrees. Same as the other leg. The back legs goes front that far. Back that much. This one goes back that much. And front that much. And here is the Jurassic World logo and the facts app. If you haven't scanned it already, here's your chance. There you go. Again, not much articulation. That's more so for the Hammond collection. The mainline figures are basically more for playability and their action features, which is a nice segue to get into our action feature for the Nasutoceratops here. So action feature of the figure, you already saw it in demo during the toy hunt, but pretty much it's all activated on the tail. And speaking of, I think I know what's weird about the tail. So I think it's because it's separate pieces and you control the action feature with the tail, that it kind of looks really, really fat here, and it just kind of like slims out without it like blending properly, you know? So it just looks off. So it looks like it's wearing it looks like the tail's wearing a turtleneck, but I think that's what seems so off about it, and that's why I think it's so short. If you think about it, the tail technically starts here on this line, but because of the action feature, it could be perceived that the tail starts this way, which makes it seem a lot shorter than it actually is, if that makes sense. So for action feature, you've seen it already. You move the head up, and I think the head goes up and it roars. Down. Only moves down that much. I wish it would move down more, but that's pretty much the controls of it. The feel of the action feature, I don't know if... I feel like it's gonna... Can you hear that? I don't know if that's just because the plastic is rubbing together or the quality is off, but I don't know. We'll have to mess around with it more to find out. But another one I didn't know that I found out while opening the packaging was you could actually spin the head, and that's awesome. Okay, you know what? Like, ooh, okay. I just figured something out. That's actually really cool. So you could move it simultaneously. You don't just have to go up or down, but you could like have all that expressions, move the tail. You know what? Okay, you got me there. Fine. That's a cool action feature. I thought it was gonna be lame, that it was just gonna be that or this even or just that. I didn't know that you could actually like move it all together. That's awesome. You can see here how that head just goes around. Looks like it has 3 different roars, maybe? That's 1, 2. That's 3, 4, 5. I think it may have like 4 or 5 roars, I'm not gonna lie. Really cool, actually. I see that's the benefit of just, messing around with it on camera. You find nice little surprises like that because that's a nice touch, right? That's cool. Again, you're buying these mainline figures for their action features and playability, and I think that's a really good play feature right here. I thought it was kind of boring. The packaging for this guy does not do the action feature justice. Because in the packaging, you just think that it goes up or down, but in reality, you could like mess with it that way. It's nice. Yeah, I was ready to complain about how the tail just moves up and down and like that's it, but the fact that you could like kind of move it around, it'll be a nice feature for like having dinosaur fights and stuff. Now, is this better than a button one? I feel like for collectors and like animators, like this is more fun, obviously. But I feel like for kids, it might be easier to have a button. We'll compare it to other Ceratopsians here in a bit and compare action features. But yeah, that's a cool action feature. I'm not going to lie. I was ready to hate on it, but that's sick. Now let's go into the fun part of the review, and that is with the comparisons. I'm going to start off with some Ceratopsians. So I brought out the 2018 Dinosaurs here. These guys look awesome together. You can see here, I feel like that's just easier. Like if I want to like have fights, I feel like this requires like 2 hands to like fully mess with it. Whereas this guy kind of just like, you know, like you press and then you fight. Where I feel like it's this guy, you have to like push down, and it's just really awkward. But you see here from like tail to the head, they're roughly around the same length. So yeah, it's the new Rorivores, because these guys were called Rorivores. This is called Wild Roars now, I believe. Right? I already forgot. Yeah, Wild Roars. But same size pretty much. The skull of the Nasutoceratops does look a little bigger than the Pachyrhinosaurus here. And one thing is that this Pachyrhinosaurus pops because look, there's a lot of paint here. There's stuff at the belly, the leg, even goes down all the way to the tail. More paint at the front there. So this guy just looks really, really lazy compared to it. I mean, they look like they belong in the same universe because the sculpt is there. But yeah, it's just a paint job that I really, really do not like about this guy. You could have fights with these guys, bump each other in the head, right? For dominance and stuff. So there you go. Jurassic Park 3 Triceratops. Not in scale. I would say Nasutoceratops is bigger. This could be like maybe like a sub-adult Triceratops, even a juvenile maybe. But yeah, you see there that Triceratops is a lot smaller from tail to the head. Even the base of the body is a lot bigger. But could these guys work in the same universe? Yes, because they do look good together. They have fights. So if you want your like little herd of like ceratopsians, that could work. You got your Kenner Triceratops. Absolutely dwarfs the Nasutoceratops here. Are these guys in scale? Nasutoceratops might be a little too small, but nonetheless, they look good together. Again, you can have nice fights with these guys. Like if you want to like have them like fighting over territory or something, you could have really nice fights with these guys. Triceratops is bigger. I really wish Mattel would implement like the side squeeze action feature compared to like the tail or like the button. Because I feel like that would be really easy for kids to work with compared to like, you know, this. So you can see like me having problems with the figure. I also wish, okay, here's I think where another problem that I have. I wish that when you move it up, the head goes down instead of up, because I feel like that's a lot easier to like if you're playing, it's easier to move this down than to move it up, you know? So if you move it up, the head goes down. But I feel like it should be the opposite, because this just feels awkward. Like there's not really much to grab onto, and I feel like I'm lifting the butt, whereas this guy is just, you know, it's easy. Same thing with the Pachyrhinosaurus, like that's just easy, right? Compared to, you know, like if I want to like bump heads, like for this guy I don't even have to press anything. For him I have to like drag the head down, and it's just really awkward to play with. But nonetheless, I think like it's fine, especially because of this. So that's that. Yeah, if you want to have like your herd of ceratopsians, you could like absolutely have that. These all look like they belong in the same world, same universe, and they all look good together. Got the Stegosaurus here, and you see the Kenner Stegosaurus is bigger. Are they in scale with one another? I would say so. The Stegosaurus is longer, base of the body with the smaller figure at the front there. You can see Stegosaurus is bigger. Right there, you can't even see the Nasutoceratops if you compare it that way. But yeah, I'd say these guys could be part of the same herd, same universe. They look good together. So yeah, Mattel's doing a really good job with the cross-compatibility between other companies such as Kenner, right? They look great together. They look like, you know, part of the same herd that the carnivores could attack. Which, speaking of, let's bring in some carnivores. First comparison I want to do, because it just makes sense, and I think people want to see it, is the Battle at Big Rock fight here. And these guys do look good. But you see what I mean here? The paint job on this guy looks striking and tough, because it goes all the way at least halfway through the tail. And there's a lot of like textures and weathering in the body. Whereas this guy, the paint job just stops right there and kind of looks bland the rest of the way through. His his toenails are also painted, which helps a lot to bring those out. I could do that probably, but still, it would be nice not having to do it, you know? Are these guys in scale with one another? If I remember correctly, I think the doe was a lot smaller than the buck. So this could be like the doe Nasutoceratops, and this could be like a fully grown Allosaurus, because you can see at the top here, Allosaurus is bigger. But yeah, scale wise, if I remember Battle of Big Rock correctly, I believe the biggest is the buck Nasutoceratops next to the doe. So if you really want, this could be like the doe Nasutoceratops, because it's just a tad bit smaller than it should be compared to the Allosaurus, but not noticeable enough to where it would feel like this is a baby. Like, I think they're still compatible enough, and you could have like nice fights with these guys. Like, that looks really cool. Love Battle of Big Rock. So this is really hitting the spot, especially because I've wanted an Ceratops for so long. I just wish this figure was a lot better, you know? But yeah, there's the comparisons between the two. Really, really nice. You can have the Allosaurus attack the Nasutoceratops. Nasutoceratops try to attack the Allosaurus. So yeah, there you go. Ceratosaurus. These guys look awesome together. I think this is the right scale. From horn to tail, they're roughly around the same height or same length. So yeah, again, good comparison of how Mattel used to paint it all the way to the tail, and this one looked really good. But man, I really wish this had better paint job. You got the demon Carno, and these guys look great together. Have tons of fights. You could like have the Carno try to get her, and oh, I love how that arm is like wrapping around the horn there when it's like trying to take her down. But you see here that Carno is a lot bigger from tail to head. Carno is just a little longer. Bird's eye view here, because the colors are really contrasting well with one another because of the light brown and blue, but compare that to the black and the red. It's just a nice contrast from one another. It feels like they're nemesis, you know, or like it feels like they're rivals or something. But yeah, nice playability with these guys. You could have nice fights if you wanted to. This Canotaurus, as cartoonish as it looks, does mend well with a lot of the Mattel stuff. So it's really nice. And you can have like her take them down, have her eat. But yeah, these guys look great together. I'd recommend. You have the Lost Road Velociraptor, Cyclops, and Raptor Blue. I would say that these guys are in scale with one another. So if you want the Velociraptors hunting the Nasutoceratops down, you could have that. Like, that's a cool depiction right there, doesn't it? Like, they're jumping her, which looks very cool. But you see here, these guys are in scale with one another. Nasutoceratops is bigger, as he should be. You could have Nasutoceratops activate the battle damage there, as you can see, and you know, have her attack, or have Raptor Blue jump the Nasutoceratops. So yeah, these guys look awesome together. Lots of playability with like the Kenner and like the Mattel stuff. Like, look at that. That's a sick depiction, man. It's like, yeah, they're trying to take her down. I want to do one comparison. If you've seen Walking with Dinosaurs, it's not the Pachyrhinosaurus, but I wanted to see how it would look next to the Ultimate Gorgon, because this guy loves to hunt his ceratopsians. Even though this is not a Pachyrhinosaurus, I just wanted to see how they look like. And they look good together. I think that's about in scale as what it was in the movie. There you go. So you could have the Gorgosaurus attack the Nasutoceratops. See, that's the thing, right? Like, this is not Mattel nor Kenner, the Gorgosaurus, but it still fits in the same universe with one another. And that's really cool. This Gorgosaurus is not going to stand up, so I'm just going to hold her like this. But yeah, you can see how good these guys look. And I would say, yeah, they are in scale with one another. I like how that looks. The young Rex. And these guys look good together. Again, would be so much better. The paint job is just throwing me off with this guy. Would be so much better if there's like contrast at the bottom there. I think this is the best looking like comparison that we've done so far. Probably because the young Rex is so expressive compared with this guy. Like how that like moves and spins. Like this guy's like fully rubber, so he could do whatever you want with it. So if you have her attack him, see that, like, look how cool that looks, right? Like trying to like struggle with it. So that's really awesome. Scale here for the juvenile T-Rex. They are in scale with one another. Juvenile Rex is bigger, as he should be. Sizing here. Juvenile Rex is bigger. Of course, you know I had to do it with the big red Rex, who doesn't fit the frame of the camera. I'm gonna have to move it back. I don't think that's in scale, I'm not gonna lie. I think red Rex is just ginormous. But playability wise, if you want like just a Rex like hunting her down, then it works just fine. The red Rex is big enough to where it could pick the Nasutoceratops up just like that. But yeah, not in scale. I think red Rex is just a little bit too big. Maybe this Nasutoceratops could be like a juvenile or a sub-adult maybe. But you could still have some playtimes with these guys. Like have the red Rex like going out for a snack maybe. Or picking out like the weak of the herd. Spinosaurus. And these guys do look like they're in the same toy line because they are. Man, this paint job is really distracting me, man. Because now you're seeing the Spinosaurus, and the Spinosaurus, like the yellowish of the tail goes all the way to the back there. Looks cool, looks badass. I just wish it's so bland. Spinosaurus is bigger. I think they're I think they look good together. You could have some playtime for these guys. Have the Spino attack the Nasutoceratops, and Nasutoceratops fight back. So what do I think of the Wild Roar Nasutoceratops from Mattel? The sculpt is great. It's a great size. Like I think the size is serviceable for the Wild Roar assortment. I really wish that the paint job is better. That's my biggest gripe with the figure. But the sculpt and the playability. So the playability and it being universe friendly carries a lot for the figure. The action feature also does a lot with how cool that looks. The sculpt, especially right here at the front, is so good. Articulation is fine because it's a mainline figure. But yeah, it's just my biggest complaint would be the paint job. Like if you were paying attention to the comparisons, I did bring up the paint a lot because all those previous figures were well painted, and it sucks that this guy is just kind of bland, I'd say. Just wish that this little blue color went all the way down to the tail. I feel like that would have helped the figure a lot. Maybe having like an underbelly color. But overall, would I recommend it for you guys? If you don't have the Nasutoceratops from the Battle at Big Rock, then absolutely I'd recommend getting this guy. Because this guy is like really good. And it does appear in the shows and movies. So if you want to fill that gap in your collection, this Nasutoceratops will do. If you already have that, I'd still say get this guy because of the electronics, but I think that, yeah, you know what? Because that one has like an orange stripe, and it looks kind of cheap as well. I think this paint job, I think this paint job is good. I just wish there was more of it, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not complaining with the color palette that they chose. I'm complaining about the lack there is of paint. I just wish there was more, but if you don't have a Nasutoceratops, definitely get this guy. I don't think it's the best figure in the line thus far. I think the Spinosaurus is still better. Or I'm going to see how the other guys that I got from the toy hunt hold up compared to this guy. But yeah, right now, this guy, not my favorite. I think I'm going to give it like a 6.7 out of 10. It's just okay. It's mid. Like it's not groundbreaking or like doesn't do enough to get that high 8s, 9s, and 10s. And not every figure in this toy line is gonna be an 8, a 9, or a 10. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's an okay figure. Again, it's nice to have a Nasutoceratops in my collection, but I just wish it was better. Like the sculpt is fine. It's just the paint job kind of distracts me. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. That'll be it for me today. Make sure you subscribe to get notified to all my future videos. There's a lot more coming into this channel. Slowly but surely, I'm going down through the roster of what I got from the toy hunt. Right now, we're 2 out of 5 in. So, you know, we're getting there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out getting my videos out there because apparently the YouTube algorithm doesn't like me that much. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. This is your host, Voltus Prime. We are now leaving the station. I'm going to go touch some grass now. From one fellow collector to another, play on, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, I'm sitting here. Sorry, the dryer's running. So I'm sitting here editing this video. It's not done yet. But then something arrived from Toys R Us. And yeah, I got the super colossal Tyrannosaurus Rex. This guy looks so awesome. I will not be doing a review for him, but I do have a very special video planned that kind of involves, here's a little teaser. Whoop. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. So yeah, I have something very special planned for this guy. So no review coming out. This video might get delayed by 1 week. So I'll be working on this guy. Yeah, so this video is probably gonna come out like a week after it's supposed to, so that by the next schedule comes up, this guy's video will be done. So sorry about that. Yeah, there's not gonna be a video. Well, I'm assuming if this is already uploaded like a week ago. So there's that. Just a little update and explain why this video came out so late was because I didn't expect to get this guy. And yeah, I'll be doing something very special for him.